the week. Welcome to GNN, your Goblin News Network. This is the roaming reporter, Nanami Clyde. I got some very interesting stories for you guys today. Everything from big fat white chibokos to Final Fantasy VII enlargement. First story, Final Fantasy XIV has been making 7-Eleven stores sell out of sodas in Japan. That is right. Currently, Square Enix is doing a promotion at 7-Eleven where if you buy a soda, you'll get a coupon. And you can turn that coupon into a code for the game, which will give you points, which will allow you to buy various gear, outfits, and of course, the big fat white chiboko. Currently, in North America and Europe, you can get the yellow fat chiboko. There have been reports stating that the big fat white chiboko or this promotion may be coming to North America and Europe soon, or at least an opportunity to be able to purchase the big fat white chiboko. However, details are unknown. Next story up will be about Final Fantasy XV. It has been reported that the Final Fantasy XV for the PC is going to be more of the definitive version. A story that's just been released stated that they cannot make the ultimate Final Fantasy XV due to current limitations of console hardware. However, they can go all out with the PC version. And because of this, they're saying that it's not going to be a normal port. They might actually go back from scratch and actually rewrite the game from the ground up. Now, right now, that's just saying what they could do. There's nothing definitive. And of course, with the PlayStation 4 is going to be coming out with a PlayStation 4.5 or later versions that will be significantly more powerful than the current base model PlayStation 4. So we don't know if eventually Final Fantasy XV will have different versions for the different consoles and different PCs. Time will tell. The next story coming up is about Square Enix. It was first reported that they're going to be jumping into the episodic game genre, like Telltale's games, Life is Strange, and King's Quest. However, it's now starting to be reported that even though Square Enix is saying Final Fantasy VII is going to be episodes, however, each episode is going to be the size of a full game. So it's not really going to be much like what we see with Telltale games, but it's going to be more akin to StarCraft 2, where each installment is going to be all a game in itself. However, they're not saying how many episodes there will be, or what the price of each episode is going to be. All that information is still unknown. It has been reported that the reason for this turn to an episodic version of Final Fantasy VII is because they want to expand the story that we know, that each episode or installment is going to be seen or experienced through a different point of view from different characters, not necessarily from the cast we know from the original Final Fantasy VII. So we're going to actually be introduced to possibly new storylines, or the story is going to be more fleshed out. And this is Nanami Clyde, roaming reporter, and we'll see you for the tip of the day. Enjoy. Tip of the day. This is Nanami Clyde, once again reporting. I just learned of a new tip this very day. Currently I'm a level 32 botany of the Gathering class. A fellow free company mate of mine recently informed me that at our various grand companies, and this one located in Lima Losa, Lima Lomesia Upper Decks. I know I'm butchering all the names, I do apologize folks. But here's the location I'm bringing up on the map right now. Basically, you can go to the Quartermaster, and there you can buy survival guides. And these guides will give you a significant boost to EXP. Now, normally, the best way to level up a Gatherer, or a Disciple of the Land, or Disciple of the Hand, is using the levy system. However, those are a finite source, and the recommendation is to save your levies for your crafting classes. The recommended tip for gathering classes is either watch a movie while you're doing the gathering, or listening to an audiobook. However, one nice little tip I learned today, as you're seeing here right now, is under the Materials tab of the second box, you should soon find survival guides. And these guides will give you a nice little boost to EXP. They are time dependent, and there has been issues I've read online of when you start the buff, if you zone out, if you leave, if you do anything, the buff will dissipate. As you see right there, we got the company issue survival manual for, at least for my grand company, around 1,410 seals. Now, just recently, they just lowered the amount of seals you need for your chiboko. When I was leveling up, you needed 2,000 seals for that chiboko, and now they lowered it to 200. Well, guess what? You can use those spare seals to help yourself buy a company issue survival manual. This will give you a significant boost to your gathering classes. And trust me, you're going to need all the boosts you need. It's a long journey to 60, especially with gathering classes. And I have to emphasize again, the recommendation is to use your levies for your crafting classes. So use the survival manuals for your gathering classes. This is Nanami Clyde once again reporting. Hopefully this will help you guys level up those gatherings class faster and get more gil when you sell everything onto the market board. Hopefully this tip helped everybody out. It's definitely helping me out. I spend many hours gathering, and probably by now I would have at least, maybe, since I'm currently level 32 right now, I probably would have gained another extra 5-6 levels if I'd been using the survival manual this whole time. This is Nanami Clyde. Moving on. Question of the week. Defenders of Alchem DOV supported. Nanami Clyde's basically saying hello to Fab, and of course I'm giving him the question of the week, which is, how would you feel if Final Fantasy games were released in episodes instead of one game? Fabian Dusium responds, I wouldn't be too upset about it, as long as it was well executed. And here basically I'm typing, the story is that the Final Fantasy VII remake is going to be produced via episodes, where each episode is going to be possibly from a different viewpoint of a different character. Desirium, yes, but there are more games that work in episode. A big example is Telltale's games like The Walking Dead, Minecraft Story Mode. Episodic games are becoming more popular. Nanami Clyde. Some of the community feels that it's a cash grab by Square Enix that states that each episode will be a length of a full game. There was reports that it's not going to be like an episodic, like a monthly release, but each episode will be the length of a normal game. We're talking like 30 hours. Nanami Clyde. I know I love Telltale games and King's Quest, but I feel they work. Fabian responds, Metal Gear Solid 4 also works on chapters. I have to admit, I actually never really played the Metal Gear Solid series. I tried it once. There are so many great game series out there, I haven't tried them all. Alara Ducatro, guess in French, waves at me. And basically here I'm saying, excuse me, I'm recording for my YouTube channel where I ask news-related questions to get opinions from the heroes. In that previous conversation, I stated that some people feel that Square Enix is doing a cash grab because they're taking the Final Fantasy game and splitting it up into tiny little parcels. Alara Ducatro says, laugh out loud, okay? And once again, I state the question. And then she says, like the 7 remake? And then I thank her for her time, and I say, aye! And she responds, I am not a fan. And here we go, I'm typing basically the report states that the game is actually going to be not like mini episodes, but full-length games. She also replies, I prefer to get the full finished game. Again, a lot of people feel that we're just taking the main game and breaking it up into tiny pieces. And there has been games out there that have done that, but it really hurts the community. Clyde, the report states that the episode will be the length of a regular game. Does that change your mind? Responds, she's still responding to the previous little discussion. The wait between is kind of annoying. And responding to my question, maybe. We'll see. But at the moment, her queen just pops and she disappears. And basically, that's what a lot of people have problems with episodic games, like, for example, the King's Quest. They come out with a great episode, great, like, 5-10 hours of gameplay, and then you have to wait a month, 2 months, 3 months for the next episode to come out. A lot of people don't want to do that, and instead, they're like, you know what, I'm just going to sit back, wait a year or 2 years, who knows how long this will be, and wait for all the episodes to come out, and then play it from the beginning. But then that's just a long wait game. This is Kyoto Senshi. Basically, I just asked him the question right there. And then he asked, can you elaborate? Would I have to buy each episode? And then once again, I'm retelling the story that Final Fantasy VII Remake will be released in quote-unquote episodes, akin to Telltale games. However, we're still not sure if it actually will be episodes or installments. It's kind of still vague. And here I'm basically typing, so you would have the option to possibly buy like a season for all the chapters at a cheaper price, or wait for each one to come out and buy them at a smaller price, but overall be more expensive. That's generally how Telltale games work. But then again, there has not been really many details on how this is going to roll out. Cincy, kind of like how they had 4 discs back in the day. Well, he's basically thinking what a lot of other people think. Basically, you get the Final Fantasy VII game, 4 discs, and then they're splitting it up into 4 different games, selling you each disc, making it more expensive, hence the cash grab fear. Sensei, I think it would be cool. I would definitely buy the whole season, though. And then I go, oh, I'm sorry, not in terms of discs, but story. Again, the fear is they're going to take Final Fantasy VII and like split it up into like 15 mini episodes where you have to pay $5.99 for each episode that's released. Square Enix has said that's not going to be the case. It's actually each episode is going to be a full-length game. And here I'm stating, each episode will be told from a different point of view. Again, a little bit of salt. There has been reports that it's going to be from characters' different point of view, but we don't know how extensive they're going to be. Sensei, I know it's just like releasing a new content for 14. That's true. As an MMO, we're paying a subscription, and we expect new content to be updated regularly since we're paying $15 a month for said content. Here in the episodes, you basically pay, as an example, $4.99 for episode 1, and you get maybe 5 to 10 hours of gameplay, if you're lucky. I know some Telltale games are only 2 hours, and then you gotta wait a month for the next episode, pay $4.99 again, and get another 2 hours worth of content. Essentially, I prepaid my subscription for 6 months, so I would probably do the same for 7. Nanami Clyde. Some in the community are upset because they feel it's, as I've been saying, a cash grab. Essentially responds, well, if it was a season... And basically I'm typing... Oh, nope, he's continuing. Probably, but at the end of the day, Square Enix will do what they want to try to make the money, and, you know, I get them one at a time. Now he's saying be right back, S rank, and he's teleporting away. I say, cool, and moving on. He's actually still sending me tells while he's fighting the S rank, which I thought was kind of hilarious. Oh. You pay for the season pass, and you're paying less for each game. What's there to complain about? I am getting, however, games for a lesser price. So he's basically seen it as an economic perspective. He was saying, well, each episode is giving us 30 hours of entertainment, and we buy like a season pass of it, and that gives us a discount on the, 4, 5, 6, 7 episodes. We have no idea how many. That's going to be a good deal. He's basically liking the idea that we get to buy the game how we want, or if you can't afford it, you can do a piecemeal. Tiggle7 goes, and I respond, I am doing a YouTube channel where I ask heroes about the news, and I gaze upon him in deep reflection. Curious on your opinion on one of the news stories. And he's like, I suppose. And then I state the question, how would you feel if Final Fantasy games were released in episodes instead of one game? And then again, thank him for his time. And I bow courteously. His response, episode would be an interesting twist, but at the same time, waiting for each week for new stuff might get old instead of just going at your own pace. Again, this is one of those fears that they'll start it out and then it's going to take a year or 2 years to actually get through the entire story instead of just buying the game all at once and playing it at your leisure. Kyoto Senshi still sending me tells from him fighting his S rank. If a normal game takes, let's say, 30 hours straight play to beat and they sell that game for $50, again, sometimes in these interviews, I get caught up in 2 separate conversations because of tells, so I know it will kind of get a little confusing here. Nanami Clyde responding to Tiggles. Oh, I'm scrolling up here. I'm just trying to figure out where all the conversations are going right here. The report says it'll be more like StarCraft 2, where each episodes are full-length games, because in StarCraft 2 we got 3 installments of the same story, but each installment was separate and you can play it separately with nice long games. Tiggles, doesn't feel like anything would change then, from what it currently is. And again, I'm saying within the installment system, the time between episodes could be months or even years, depending on how in-depth they are. Essentially, the curious thing is that they have different endings where your choice affects the next episode. Again, we're not really sure which way they're going to be going with Final Fantasy VII. There's been an idea floated, well, if they're going to do episodes like the Telltale games, where the choices you do with the characters from episode 1 affects the actions and story. So basically, can you get different endings? It is a possibility, but it's all salt, folks. We'll wait and see. Cincy, nice. Here we go. I'm saying it. Take it with a salt, though. Square Enix has confirmed episodes, but they're being very tight in the details. We don't know how many episodes. We don't know the price of the episodes. We don't know how the episodes are going to connect with each other. We don't know if we're going to be seen in the bad guy's point of view, the good guy's point of view, or like soldier's point of view. Everything's up in the air. Tiggins, I don't mind what they do to Final Fantasy VII. It's been redone and overplayed so many times at this point. Again, we do have the sense that we keep going back to Final Fantasy VII. There has been multiple releases. I believe it's already been released at one point on the PC. And people are like, well, how many times are we going to get the same story? And that's where Square Enix is basically saying, look, it's going to be from different points of view. Kyoto's essentially, so whatever they do, whatever the cost, I'll still get it. Because as I said previously, I might be a little biased because I played every Final Fantasy my whole life. I'm a little biased myself. I played all the games except for Final Fantasy 12 and 13. For some reason, those 2 games turned me off, but I am very excited for the coming Final Fantasy 15. Clyde, well, they're going to go beyond a remake. They're adding new character stories with a chance that your actions changes the ending. Would that possibly sound better? Again, this is taking a page from Telltale games, where your choices in episode 1 greatly affects what happens at the end of the story. Senshi, I've been live in... Let's see. Oh, I'm with you there. I played all the fight. I'm basically just saying. Tiggins says, expert calls, farewell, and he teleports away, and I give him a bid farewell. Thank you, Tiggins, for your point of view. Here we go. Nanami Clyde, I just looked at his mount and said, wow, that's a cool mount. And he basically replies, I like to use your own imaginations to see how the various main characters of Final Fantasy actually lived before the game and through certain parts of the game. And he was also saying, I'm sure that having new character stories will definitely help add to the lore. He says thanks for my comment of saying, cool mount. Nanami Clyde, I'm hoping to play the game on the villain side and see how that all ends up. And hearing about this type, it feels like, and again, this is just all guesswork at this stage, we don't have any deals, that Square Enix is making Final Fantasy VII into a full setting. Like with Dungeons and Dragons, they have the Forgotten Realms setting. The Halo series have like the Halo universe setting. It seems like they're trying to go for more of the settings type because they spent so much time world building. It would make sense that they actually capitalize on it. Come out with animes, books, stories, comic books, these episodes. We're getting a little hint of that with Final Fantasy 15. They've already come out with an anime, and I'm pretty sure they're going to come out with comics and mangas and everything else, and that the Final Fantasy games are no longer going to be contained in just a single gaming experience, but it's going to explode into a full-fledged setting. And personally, for me, I think that's awesome. Nanami Clyde, that honestly sounds like what they're doing, and not just main characters, but even possibly from like a soldier's point of view, like the minor character's point of view, and how they react to all the going-ons within the Final Fantasy VII, well, setting. And Nanami Clyde mentions, and they changed the battle system to be more dramatic, more real-time. It could very possibly be what the Final Fantasy 15 battle system is, but they said it's going to be more like Dissidia. I honestly can't remember the game. I've never really played it, but it's not going to be a traditional Final Fantasy fighting system. Essentially, I don't know about the soldier's point of view and whatnot, but I think other main characters' point of view would be good, like Tifa and Barrett. And again, that's what they're basically saying they're going to do, is each episode is going to be from a particular character's POV. However, we have no idea what characters they are referring to. We're just assuming main characters. Essentially, yeah, with that many options, shoot, it might be an anime with all the episodes. Haha, go for it. Again, we're talking about the setting where they can blow it up and do more. They can have multiple games within the Final Fantasy VII universe because it's so beloved. I know some of the community is going to say, well, that's just cash grab, and you're just trying to milk it. Well, why wouldn't you milk it? They spend like 5 to 10 years making these games, pouring blood and effort, artists, story writers, programmers, and developers. It's not easy making AAA games, and as a business perspective in a company, they should try to milk it as much as they can. You know, not whitewash it, but keep adding to the stories, keep making the stories more expensive, so you keep playing into it. Since he's basically stating, I apologize. I just asked the question what he thinks about Final Fantasy XI console support being dropped and going mobile. And he responds, I played 11 for 4 years, but I haven't played it since 2008, and it's now 2016. He hasn't played it in 8 years. And I stated, you know, with Square Enix, when they dropped the console support, they did give them the ability to freely transfer to PC, and a lot of companies wouldn't do that. And I stated, you know, I played 11 for a bit, but I couldn't sustain it back then due to college, and I'm continuing the mobile versions coming out this year, but very little details have come out about it. And it is coming out this year. You know, it can always be delayed, and it happens all the time with game development, but they're still saying this year. Since you said I was in high school during those 4 years, after which I joined the military, which is mainly why I'd stopped playing Final Fantasy XI. I burst out laughing, and I thank him for his service. In a lot of my interviews, I've met a lot of veterans in this game, and I can understand why they love this game and where they're coming from. For myself, I'm from the reservists in the United States Coast Guard, so I completely understand. And he says, when I got out of the United States Marine Corps in 2012, I picked up this, so I guess I was forced to get over Final Fantasy XI. And he says, I'm with the United States Marine Corps, and he thanks me for my service. I'm basically typing here, hoorah, I served as a reservist for the United States Coast Guard. There we go, hoorah. And again, I've noticed a lot of veteran players playing this game. I even come across some players playing this game overseas. When you are stuck in that military life, you are living that life, and so it's hard to get that escape. So I completely understand where he's coming from. And then there he goes, I apologize, he thanks me again, and I said the United States Marine Corps has always been our heroes. As a Coast Guard, we have always supported the United States Marine Corps. In our history, the only member of the Coast Guard that has received the Medal of Honor, Mr. Monroe, he received that honor for taking a small boat, attacking the Japanese enemy off an island, and he shielded his boat with retreating United States Marine Corps, and he was shot and killed. We have always been hand-to-hand with Marines. The Coast Guard folds into the Navy in times of war. And I say farewell. He says see you again. I say happy hunting out there. The video's up. I'll send you a link. Alright, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the question of the week. If you like these videos, please send me a comment question below. And once again, this is the roaming reporter, Nanami Clyde. And this will be it for episode 2. I always like to try to find a good vista. I'm going to try to get a good shot of this mountain here. And that's it. Signing off. Thank you.